Hi, this is Yipei Wei, and I'm running for the position for the Vice President Student Support. And now I'm the President of Glasgow Chinese Students and Scholars Association. Please vote for me. Thank you.
Hi Yipei, thanks for joining us. So, what in your opinion makes you the best person for this role?
Firstly, I have some past work experience. And firstly, which is my event experience, and which can be divided into three factors. Firstly is for the free airport pickup service, which is aiming to provide service to the new students and give them some introduction for the University of Glasgow. And second, we have some Saturday dance party, and aiming to promote the integration of Chinese students to the Scottish culture. And the thirdly is the SRC Chinese New Year event, which is possible to help the local people to learn the Chinese culture. And my second is the problem solving service. Will I be the president of the Glasgow Chinese Students and Scholars Association? I help students to solve the problems, which can be divided into two parts. The first part is academic problem solving. As some students will miss the problem when they take the translation dictionary, which is not allowed, and they do not know this regulation. And I will help them to communicate with the college and let more students to know more the regulations. And the life problem is, on the one hand, I help them to find some wholesome resources and give them some advice for the student accommodations. And on the other hand, I help them to solve the visa problem. So that is my past work experience. And in my mind, I can give more students for the student support and let them know I can solve their needs and problems.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. In your opinion, do you think that international students are currently excluded from university life? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's a problem that needs addressing by the SRC?
You mean the student life for the SRC?
Yeah, do you think that the international students face particular barriers when getting involved with student life?
From my past work experience, most as service is for the Chinese students, and the Chinese students will meet some life problem. There are some different part for their problems. For instance, they do not know more campus services, such as the visa services, the career services. They do not know more about it.
And how? And so you mentioned that in your manifesto as well, that you want to work with student services to raise awareness of the services that they provide. How do you aim to do this?
So, as for the student life services, firstly, I will to cooperate with more societies and let the societies to give the information to let the students know the campus services. And on the other hand, I will to talk with the students and to know their needs and update the campus services and make the services could be promote and help more students.
Okay, but obviously one of the problems is that students might not necessarily come directly to you to talk about not being engaged. How do you aim to reach out to those students then? Through, I mean, what channels do you?
What channels I will use? For the student life?
To engage students with university life.
Okay, that would be within my manifesto. Firstly, it could be for the new students. The more detailed information will be given for the students' arrival to print more materials. And secondly is for the more support. I will to talk with the offices, the student offices, and to faster the services. For instance, as for the visa and the mental health services, now you have to queue in for a long time. And I will talk with the specific offices and to make the services be more faster.
Yeah, and one of the big problems with that is obviously that the counselling services, the mental health services at university are underfunded and are overstretched at this point already. How do you aim to lobby the university for more funding staff for these services? It's something that gets brought up every year by student support, and it's not something that they're always particularly successful with.
So you mean it will
So how do you aim to address these issues, given the fact that CAPS is already underfunded and overstretched?
Okay, so as in my mind, it is not need too much money to raise the services, as you mean we just to get more information channels and to let more students know these services. That is the problem for the international students. So it is not the money problem, it is the information problem. So we have to cooperate with more societies and let them to know more the information and the services. And as for the funding problem, I do not know whether it is possible to get some sponsors, but as for the campus, if it needs more funding, my question is, I have to talk with the offices and the teachers to get more funding. Is this the problem?
Well, the problem is that you would need to lobby the university. So obviously you're correct in saying that international students might not know about these services, but then the problem that they're going to come up against when they do know about these services is that there are long waiting times, the services are understaffed and underfunded, so even if they were aware of these services, they might not be able to access them, even if they were aware of them.
So you mean so in my mind, we have to find the most important services for the students, and just to update the services, which parts is the students' most needs, and as for the different part of students, such as the needs for undergraduates and postgraduates, is different. So we do not need too much services for each student. We just need to solve them needs for each specific parts of students and the student groups. So the staffs for each services, the number could be different. But so we have to get a specific list and to know the specific needs, and we can get we can forecasting the services, and so we need a detailed plan for the services updating.
Okay,
Yes.
and you're
I will do it.
Yeah. Okay, would you be able to go into any of the details of what that might look like?
For the specific planning, services planning, firstly we have to know how many services we have currently, which can provided for the students, and there in my past work experience, in each semester there are different important parts in different time period, and so in for instance the September, October, November and December, there are different working points, and the services can be provided for each time period, and I can get a plan. As when I was the president of the Glasgow GCSSA in the society, for each month we have the specific working point for the students,
okay,
and we can know their needs and solving the problems.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
You also mentioned in your manifesto that the university should be providing more multilingual services
Yes.
for international students upon arrival.
Yes.
Do you not think that that's maybe putting a plaster on a problem that international students come to the university and the university requirements for English language are too low in the first place? That the university's English language requirements should be higher?
I mean, it depends. It depends on which specific problem the students have to meet, and we have to solve the needs. For instance, the mental health problem, the Chinese students all other international students could not use English to provide their feelings to the doctors.
Of course, but
yes, so maybe
would that not, is that not as a result of the English language requirements being too low? You know, the university is very happy to take international students' money, but doesn't necessarily require them to be able to speak an adequate level of English so that they can get on and be able to engage with campus life and use the services.
But the language request is more depends on the academic part. But as for the life part, maybe we can give them much more languages choice, and then they can feel more happy, and their student satisfaction will be much higher, and their academic will be much happy to fight for the higher grades and for the academic part.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, finally, you also mentioned in your manifesto that you want to kind of establish a global alumni office and a global alumni network. Is that something that you believe is, strictly speaking, a priority for the student support role? There's obviously a lot of other bigger issues that need more immediate attention, mental health funding. Is that something that you believe is an immediate priority for student support?
Yes, as for the alumni, I mean, for this part, it is for the service for the graduates, and there are so many graduates, especially for the post-undergraduates. They just have 1 year in the University of Glasgow, and after this 1 year study, I hope they can get much more time, much more time services. As well, from my past work experience, I can get so many requests from the graduates. They would like to get the score report or something else.
Yeah, and do you believe that this is something that would support students then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In what way?
You like to know the reason?
Yeah, well, in what way would it be providing support to students while they're at the university? Because that's obviously a more pressing issue.
It is, in my mind, for the service for the graduates and the undergraduate and postgraduate international students is equal. We have to consider it with different and to solve the different needs for different parts of students. And I mean, it is another problem for how to cost money. I mean, how to spend money. So we have to know about the students' needs and to make the money can be spent on for their specific needs. And as for the graduates' needs, I mean the alumni. For this part, it does not to spend too much money. I mean, we just need for the student services officer just to can help them to solve the problem and let them know when they leave the campus, they can still get the service from the Glasgow University. And currently we have some officers for the alumni part. We just need to make cooperation with them and to promote more services for them.
Okay, yeah. And my last question here is about your engagement with LGBT students at the university. Are TED Talks and film screenings the best way to support LGBT students at the university? Because in my opinion, awareness of LGBT issues isn't the problem, but rather the level of support that can be offered by the SRC. How do you aim to support LGBT students as opposed to merely raising awareness?
It can be divided into two parts. The first part is for the awareness. Second part is for the service. As for the awareness, I know LGBT, the attitude for the LGBT is really positive in Glasgow University, but for so many international students, they still get some traditional attitude. So I'd like to promote their awareness for LGBTQ for more international students and let them to feel more happy and equal. And second part is for the service. And I mean, there are so many activities for LGBTQ, but still is to promote the awareness. But I like to promote some services for the transgender students, and maybe just to provide some live products or provide more what they need in this campus, and make them do not feel that different, as although we are different, we are equal.